Ladies and gentlemen, we need to freak out because it looks like from this latest trailer for the next episode of The Flash coming next year, so we got a little bit of a Christmas break, but don't worry, it's coming. But anyway, the freak out thing is that it seems Iris and Barry may very well be going into the future to look at the Flash Museum. Holy shit. How's it going, species? Welcome to a very welcome trailer breakdown of The Flash Season 5, Episode 10, I believe it is, because Episode 9 was technically Elseworlds, Episode 8 was the mid-season finale. So yeah, Episode 10, this is called The Flash and the Furious. I like that name, obviously, spin-off title from something very obvious. Now, I believe as of when I'm making this video, there isn't a synopsis. I tried to dig up some more info on this episode online, couldn't find anything else about it. So I'm thinking the fact that this is returning in January, they're gonna hold off on the synopsis and promo photos. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up. You guys need to see this trailer. We've got Eobard Thawne in it, everything like that. So we need to talk about all of the possibilities the next episode holds. Roll the trailer. Go.
Have I not given you everything that you wanted? A chance to go back to see your father. Nora, to run with the Flash. No! This is your legacy. Another broken family.
The Flash. All new episodes return Tuesday, January 15th on the CW.
Okay, so I know that trailer didn't show a shite ton of stuff, like loads and loads of stuff. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I do try and not overhype things, but sorry, when you've got time travel, like Barry going to his own Flash Museum and Eobard Thawne talking to Nora, I'm sorry, no matter how little footage you show Flash/CW, I'm going to be very excited about making a video about it. So now let's go over it detail by detail. And by the way, if you haven't seen my Elseworlds reviews, they are in the cards above. Check out part 1, 2, and 3 if you want to. Why not? Because, you know, I reviewed them. Now, the beginning of the trailer has Eobard Thawne from 2049 saying the following words. Have I not given you everything you want? A chance to go back and see your father, to run with the Flash. And I have to say, I love it. I love it when Eobard says that line, that particular line, to run with the Flash. Because the way Tom Cavanaugh said it there, and this is a little bit of, you know, going deeper, analyzing, I feel like that was very deliberate. Now, even though he also hates him now, and he's the reverse Flash, the arch nemesis of the Flash, just look at Eobard's face when he's saying to Nora, you know, about giving her the chance to go back in time, meet her father. But when he's like, to run with the Flash, he says it as if he's living a memory of the exhilaration of what it's like to run with the Flash. And I definitely believe that is exactly what he's speaking like, because once upon a time, he would have loved to have run with the Flash. He was the biggest mother freaking fanboy of him. So even though, as I said, they're worst enemies right now, even though that's exactly how he feels right now as he's saying it to Nora, what he's saying with how he's given that possibility even to Nora to go back in time and run with the Flash, it is something he still probably remembers as a fond memory because it once was. Also, Eobard says, this is your legacy, another broken family. Now, I often say sometimes things are cut in trailers to sound like they're continuously said like a sentence or like part 2 to a sentence. But when he says, this is your legacy, you know, another broken family, it does make me think that he's saying it to somebody else. And it could just be continuing off from last episode. And I'd be fine with that. I mean, we're evidently getting another Nora and Eobard scene in this episode, whether she traveled back again since last episode. So with the way things kind of ended last episode and how she wasn't happy with the whole finding out that you murdered my grandma thing, they could be having a little bit of a debate and argument. She could just be like, this is your legacy, another broken family. But to me, the fact that we know we're getting Barry Allen and Iris, well, I can't say that for a fact, but we know at least one of them will be going to the Flash Museum in the future. And I really think that's happening from what we see in this trailer. It wouldn't surprise me, and I think this would be so cool, but maybe they might be saving it because they might not want Barry to know about the whole Nora and Iris thing for a few episodes, because Grant Gustin said they're like shooting episode 13 or 14, and there still hasn't been the fallout of what we were teased with Nora and Eobard at the end of episode 8. There's not been like a massive repercussion from that yet in the story, or at least as where he's filming. That could be a little white lie. But anyway, back to the point at hand. I think it would be amazing if Barry in 2049 in the Flash Museum also, I don't know how this would happen, visits Eobard Thawne at Iron Heights. Because quite literally, that is a very good line to say from Eobard Thawne to Barry Allen. You know, this is your legacy. another broken family. Well, what a broken family has Barry had before? Well, his dad dying at the hands of Zoom, not really having much of a family because he was in prison, living with Joe West, not his family was broken, right? His mother, of course, was murdered. Like, why you could say that to Nora in a way, because she grew up with her mum and the family was somewhat broken without her father, but man, I think, and let me know if you're with me here, that would be a mother-freaking perfect line for Eobard Thornienius to say to Bartholomew Henry Allen. But aside from this, in this trailer, we see Nora like working out technically in a speedster fashion, like running around, you know, putting a towel on her, you know, working off the burn of the speed force she just created, probably working off some steam from finding out that in the person she's been working with, not only was she knowledgeable that it was her father's arch nemesis, but this is the man who murdered my freaking grandma, so F me, I need to like figure some shit out, so I'm gonna run some speed off. But then we see throughout the trailer, and I'll just talk about this now, it seems that Barry, Ralph, I think Nora as well, are facing off against Cicada in that alleyway. I believe in this episode he might be featuring the new Cicada suit, where you got like Cicada wing patterns. It's not really a suit, it's that new cloak, if you will. His armbands seem a bit different, like the wrappings up. It's pretty badass. He's basically got a Cicada patterned trench coaty cloaky suit, and it seems that they're facing off in this. Maybe touch on this a little bit later, but I want to get into the Nora and Barry stuff. But the next scene is what is very meta and both fascinating to what we were talking about earlier. Here we see a younger Nora. You'd have to think that this is a younger Nora, not only holding a Flash figure, but reading about her father in a Flash comic book. Now this is a comic book, so it seems with Cicada in it. Like, I definitely believe that you can have comic books within comic book shows. Like, if there's a like established hero out there year after year after year after year, the Scarlet Speedster of Central City, why not record and maybe make it for children or just like teenagers or whatever, some of the famous stories of when Barry saved Central City from Captain Cold or something like that. I think that is meta believable enough. But here, the fact she's reading a Cicada comic, because if you see there, I believe that is Cicada, or at least the comic book version of Cicada that Nora is reading. You also see her holding a Flash figure of her father. Now, they better sell these because I want to get my hands on one. I don't believe that one is out. I could be wrong. It does have the white symbol on it. It looks pretty cool. I want it. But also, obviously, in the background here, you can tell that this is like the merch shop in the Flash Museum with a load of cups, load of Flash hoodies, everything of the like. And what else do we see, ladies and gentlemen? We see Barry, and I believe that's a little blurry iris on the left side of the screen there, in the same merch shop, or just let's just say the Flash Museum. Now Barry is probably, and I think this would be really cool, like really cool, if he like sees his daughter there reading that comic book and he like says hi to her. I think that would be very risky in timeliney kind of ways. You know, little Nora wouldn't know that. Maybe she would have seen pictures by her dad at this point. That is very debatable. But either way, maybe he does ignore her, but just like says, "Oh man, look at my kid. My kid's growing up without me." This must break Barry's heart. Like, he knows he's going to go missing in Crisis. He feels bad enough there that he's not going to be there for his daughter. Like, that is quite a prominent thing this season since Nora's run back in time to be with him. But man, if you see your kid like in your own museum, having that only way learning about you through freaking comic book and like Flash merch, man, that would break my heart if that was my kid in the corner. But anyway, another very interesting thing is that we see Barry wakes up, or has just been tossed in perhaps, the pipeline, and none other by Nora, because Barry like gets up and is like, "Nora," like as if like, what the hell are you doing? Nora's just like looking at her father like, "I'm so sorry, Dad, I could barely look you in the eye, but I'm doing this for a reason, and I can't wait to find out what that reason is." So this is what makes me think maybe Barry is telling, or should I say Grant Gustin is telling a little bit of a white lie, because like what else would this be other than surely I'm thinking this could be linked with, since we didn't get that freaking scene of when Sherloque wanted to take his concerns about Nora's journal, the message, the timeline is malleable, to Iris. We didn't get that, even though it's in the synopsis of the last episode. Maybe that has happened in this episode. They figure it out like in a way that why is Nora writing this stuff. They start to, Barry finds out, Iris finds out, you can't really refute the evidence, then goes to Nora, and then maybe they propose that they want to travel to the future, or bottom line, they just confront Nora and she puts him in here. This is really advanced speculation here, so I wouldn't say take my word for this at all, but you would have to think the fact that Nora seemingly locks Barry in the pipeline, like she wants to prevent him from doing something. What could that be other than finding out the truth? I'm not sure, but I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, when I first saw this, like Speed Force writing down, and it seems to be a journal. It might even be an early version of the journal we're used to. It might not be. Either way, I thought nothing much of it. Like, I was like, okay, more Speed Force symbols, cool, could be the journal, but that isn't Nora's hand, if I'm not mistaken. That looks like a man's hand. I could be wrong, but that does look like a bloke's hand. I'm just saying, so could this be Eobard Thawne? Maybe flashbacks to when Nora first meets him? That would be so cool. Please do something like that. That explore how they first met, how maybe he's manipulated Nora into working with him. She obviously knows it's the reverse flash, but why is she kind of okay with that? Explore that origin. That would be really cool. This could be Eobard Thawne teaching the Speed Force language to Nora. She said she created it, but I don't necessarily believe that. But would love to know your thoughts on whose hand this is. It could also be Star Labs, Team Flash style, Cisco writing some stuff down, Barry potentially trying to figure out what this language or time language even means as they found it in Nora's book. As I said, the whole confrontation thing, is that finally happening in this episode, like it was meant to in last episode? Also, going back to Eobard and Nora talk here, we see that Nora's starting to look like a little bit like she's being told off, and she almost feels bad because Reverse Flash, they seem to be bickering regardless. Like, she obviously will confront him saying, you killed my grandma, what the hell, blah, 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 blah. But it's obviously going to flip the tables, and he's going to be like, look, I gave you a chance to go back in time, spend time with your father, to run with the Flash. And she's like, well, I suppose you did. Like, I came to you for help. You've done this for me. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm very interested to see that relationship. Does she actually feel told off by him? Does she have complete control? It does seem like she's a kid getting told off by somebody she respects. It's very interesting to see what hold Eobard Thawne has over her. But either way, this is where we see the article in the Flash Museum, I believe, or in the merch shop, or wherever it is. They could just be highlighting it. Like, regardless, it's a big thing, the last known thing of the Flash. So Flash goes missing in Crisis seems to be displayed there. We see Cisco seeming to be working on something. I can't tell what it is. I've looked at the reflections in his goggles there. You can see, like, he's looking at the computer there with some results popping up. You can see it's some kind of results for the test of whatever he's testing on this object here. It kind of reminds me, when you slightly look at it, of, you know, the kind of tachyon device before they made it small to make Barry run faster. You know, the thing they hid behind the symbol? It looks a little bit like that, because you can see, like, there's a little circle there with little 4 corners coming off it, but I'm really not sure. I really can't find out anything else. So what do you think Cisco is investigating here? Do you reckon it's something they found from Nora after looking into her a bit further? Now, how do I know that Iris is in the Flash Museum? Well, obviously the shot's earlier, but here we see a very clear shot of Iris in the Flash Museum. We see the Thinker's chair there. We see the other props, well, the villains stuff that we saw in the first ever Flash Museum reveal, where it says like Hall of Villains or wherever it was there. Now it looks like this may be happening in Flash time, because you see Iris look over very slowly. It could just be from the Flash's perspective, Barry's perspective, but you do see somebody in the background that's blurred. Maybe they're after her. You can't make out who it is. Like, they're wearing something that's black. You can tell they have like light colored hair. It's really hard to make out who exactly that is. Is it a Flash Museum security guard? I don't know. It could just be somebody after the fact that Barry and Iris have traveled to the Flash Museum in the future, which is really, really strange, knowing that you could be walking around the Flash Museum as an actual, like, you know, citizen, and you don't know that Barry Allen's right there. That's mad to think about. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think could be going on in this moment in the Flash Museum. It looks like Barry and Iris could run into a little bit of trouble with their time in the future. Other than that, everyone, right here we see somebody looking at the Speed Force symbols decoder that we know Cisco and, well, kind of mainly Sherlock Wells was doing this. Now that does look like a Wells to the right. I don't know why. It reminds me of Wells a Bard, like with the glasses. Sherlock doesn't wear glasses. I could be wrong, but that does look like Tom Cavanagh. You would have to think that is Sherlock. I don't see why it wouldn't be him trying to find out even more, but maybe since it's potentially public to Team Flash now, with this whole language and decoding with it, it could be somebody else. The trailer ends with Cicada walking down the alleyway. We see Nora Allen to the right there, wiped out. We see the Flash. We see Ralph. We see a gun on the floor there. Could Iris be there with, you know, equipping the gun? Who knows? But it looks like Cicada might have the upper hand in this episode with whatever they're tackling on the side project, as sometimes they do in episodes. But guys, what a tease. I mean, what a tease waiting to be fulfilled until, you know, the Christmas break is over and the show comes back. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's start a real discussion and conversation about what could be going on. Let me know your thoughts on everything I theorized. Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with any of it? I just need to know. I do read every comment. Might not be able to get back to everyone, but I do read every single one. But other than that, everyone, of course, like this video. If you did enjoy it, it really does help out the channel. It means a lot more than what you know to me. And of course, subscribe for more Arrowverse videos just like this. Links, as always, are in the description down below to Twitter, social media, and places like that. Patreon if you want to support the channel a bit further, and of course my BobaTalks merch. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you speedsters in the next video. See you later, guys.